Admiral Havelock and Lord Pennelton are in the courtyard. I expect they'll want to congratulate you.
He's alive. Thank you, Corvo, thank you. My uncle's a good man, and one day he'll prove it. Here. I know you did this for the right reasons, but I want you to take this as a reward. It's an old heirloom one of my aunts gave me. The Admiral was right in recruiting you. Nothing's been the same since the Lord Regent took power. But at least Campbell's gone and my uncle lived. Next time I see my uncle, I will not mention my knowledge of any of this. But he will wonder why I'm smiling. Someday he will be in a position to help you, and he will not hesitate. Just you wait and see. I feel hope.
If this is going to work, we have to take down the Lord Regent and all of his key allies. You know that.
Yes. Hopefully the High Overseer is the first step along that path.
And we must find the girl, Emily. Poor thing. Who knows what her mind is like, being there when her mother was killed.
I'd imagine the daughter of an empress is tougher than you think.
Quite right. In any case, we won't get the Lord Regent until we weaken his base. All the pieces are in play. He controls the City Watch. Through Campbell, he had the religious faction. Someone is funding the military. And he currently has a majority in Parliament.
Yes, I'm aware of that. My brothers control the voting bloc for my family. I'm very much aware of that.
To think, Lord Pennelton is the son of nobility, for one so steeped in courtly manners. His thoughts do linger long on revenge and murder. The younger Pennelton, jealous little Trevor, always in the shadow. He is prone to skin infections. His eyes are sensitive to the light. Pendleton's ships come back from the Pandician continent, crowded with poor, frightened captives.
Sailors tell tales of monsters far out to sea. But I'll tell you, there's strange things in this river no one talks about. Lights in the water, late at night. I've seen faces, too. My pa always wanted me to be an overseer. If he could see us now. You did right, Corvo. Even as a faithful man, I can see that. Some nights, I'm glad I just paddle the boat.
The inspiration is coming faster. My mind works faster at night than it does during the day. I'm being swept away, and I can no longer tell if it's genius or madness. When Corvo arrived, he brought some force from the void with him. Or perhaps I'm more brilliant than I even supposed.
My, there is something to you, isn't there? You went and spanked the High Overseer in his own house. I hope the tools I designed for you function to your satisfaction. The fact that I am standing here and talking to you affirms that this is true, in several ways. The serum is not a simple formula. It reacts to a wide variety of variables: light, temperature, turbulence, I concede that Sokolov's mixture has a more predictable nature. No talent, Sokolov. I might have had his place if I only kept my mouth closed. This outsider, could there truly be such an entity? I'll admit the arc pylon functions well, but aesthetically it's a horror. I could do it better.
Do you mean to tell me you don't know how to curtsy properly?
Please, sir. I was never in service with a noble.
That's not an excuse. You need to learn proper decorum. The Hound Pits has seen a few lords and ladies in its day.
If they were here, I expect they didn't want to be recognized, sir.
Never mind that. Lord Pенdelton ought to be shown the respect he deserves. He doesn't require it, but he notices.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
But even so, have you forgotten we may soon be guarding a future empress? You will be in the presence of the most important person in the entire known world, and you don't know how to curtsy.
But she's just a child, and she's not even here. No one knows where she is.
Well, our masters are just the people to find her, I'll have you know. Please learn your manners before then. My father served in the field under General Alfred Pенdelton, where he took the wound that crippled him. I hope I will do no less if called upon. Until then, well, there is plenty of silver to polish. For my master's sake, I do hope a finer vintage becomes available. Why did they select such a drafty building as a base of operation? I had hoped the Admiral was of noble stock, but I very much fear he achieved his position through merit alone. Does no one have any silver polish?
Sometimes I wonder if the plague is just going to go on and on and on, and kill everyone ever, and it's the end of the world. Think of that. If the city watch breaks in, I know what I'll do. I know how not to be noticed. I won't be the one to give us away. I saw the Lord Regent once. He stood on a balcony and stared. Wouldn't even wave to the people below. All I ever wanted is my own little place. Maybe if the plague kills enough folk, one day I can.
Memoir, Chapter 28. Waverly, Waverly, Waverly. The very name sweeps one away. She came into our cold marble hall and brought light and warmth. She changed our lives forever. It was only later I realized she was a traitorous little weasel, like all the Boyles.
Proved his abilities beyond question. It's not anyone who can walk into Holger Square and put down the High Overseer. And now we're faced with the question, could he be dangerous? Events are going to move quickly now. The storm's rising.
You know, I expected a rough around the edges military man, like the Admiral. You're actually a gentleman. I heard a stilt walker pass a few blocks away. They must suspect we're here. We're risking so much. I do hope it all ends well. I know you're from Serkonis, south of us, but you've lived in the city for years now. Though mostly at the palace, so you probably haven't even seen some of the worst districts. You know, I always wondered if you and the Empress... No, I shouldn't ask.
Attention, all citizens living on the north side of the river, between John Clavering Boulevard and Dunwall Tower, are advised to remain indoors until further notice. Attention, Dunwall citizens. You are reminded that assaulting a member of the City Watch has been made a capital offense, and guardsmen are authorized to carry out this sentence on the spot. The offender's possessions are legally forfeit. Emergency grain rations will be available in the Civil Services District at sunrise. Please see your tax assessor to secure food coupons before requesting rations. Attention, Dunwall citizens. This is a reminder that walls of light erected in our streets are for your protection. However, they will respond to any touch or approach with lethal force. Furthermore, it is a misdemeanor to throw any object or animal into a wall of light, whether for amusement or with criminal intent. Citizens displaced by quarantine measures are reminded that the Dunwall Navy has bunks, food, and salary, and in some cases legal amnesty available for qualified applicants. Report to a recruiter to learn more about the opportunities in service to the Lord Regent.
Welcome back, Master Corvo.
You did it! Somehow you took down the High Overseer Campbell against the odds. I knew you were our man, Corvo. With Campbell gone, we've hurt the Lord Regent immeasurably. And with Martin back, we'll have the finest strategist alive.
The Lord Regent must be shitting himself in Dunwall Tower.
Yes, and Campbell's journal, let's not forget. Our hope is that in these encoded pages, the location and condition of Emily Kaldwin can be discovered. Our entire movement will mean nothing if we can't place the rightful heir on the throne. We must act fast. No doubt the Lord Regent is holding Emily somewhere, waiting to reveal her, to step out as the hero and further cement his regency.
If he doesn't bring the young lady forth soon, there will be infighting among the nobles as to who should succeed the Empress.
Yes, time is against us. But now you should take a well-earned rest, Corvo. We will decipher the contents of the High Overseer's journal and share them with you later. Sometimes I think this conspiracy feels like the start of a joke, don't you? An admiral, an aristocrat, and an overseer walk into a bar. I wonder what the punchline will be. Without a leader, the Abbey's going to be in disarray for a while. But how to take advantage? Now's the moment when we need Martin. Damn these delays. If they ever find us, there'll be nothing left but ashes. When I bought this place, I never thought I'd be living here. Navy was the only thing I loved, and I refused to see the Lord Regent ruin it. What kind of woman will young Emily grow up to be? Or will she even get to grow up? What kind of an empress will she be? That Samuel fellow looks familiar to me, but I can't place him.
We'll have to find Emily soon. With Campbell out of play, they're likely to move her. Whiskey everywhere in this place, but good wine is hard to come by. I could use a stiff drink. Nerves. What sort of court will we be left with when all this is over? The grand social events I remember might well never return. Some of the noble families will have to be purged, of course. I'll drink to their memory. The outsider knows they wouldn't drink to mine.
It is every citizen's duty to report treasonous speech and actions. The state depends on you.
You're lucky I keep you on.
Lucky? This place would fall apart in 10 minutes without me.
Is that so?
In any case, you can't dismiss me. I went through the books this morning and found 5 mistakes you've made.
Very well.
You're lucky I found them before the Admiral did. It's a nice old pub. These beds have seen quite a bit of use, I can tell you. You'd think a Navy man wouldn't be so particular about his linens. Lady Lydia Pendleton. Ugh, no, I'd rather die of plague. You'd think a Navy man wouldn't be so particular about his linens. 2 barrels of flour, 4 weeks, 8 men and 3 women. Oh no, I've lost it.
It was a milkmaid who started it. She took ill one morning after her chores, but the milk had already been delivered. That was all it took for them to wall the place off. Plague spreads fast. My master had a very fitful night. No one sleeps well here. When they come to get me, they'll be surprised. I've held a sword before, believe it or not. Please pardon the untidiness of the room. I will tend to it shortly.
Chapter 32. As yet I have said little of my brothers Morgan and Custis. Twins they are, and 4 years senior to me. Morgan is the larger of the 2 brutes by a slight bit. From earliest memory, they abused me in every way. I'm not the first to claim their elder siblings were cruel, but my suffering was unique, I promise you. At the tender age of 5, they tied me to the crib and set inside it assorted vipers they had collected over several weeks. My howls and my breathing were muffled by a blanket, and so it was hours before the nurse found me, barely alive. I had kicked a few serpents to a pulp and others had slithered away. But not before I'd been bitten a dozen times or more on my legs, arms, and face. The wounds kept me convalescing for months, while those 2 got away with barely a tongue lashing. Wallace! Bring me wine. Tomorrow I will regale you with the special gift they gave me on my 10th birthday party.
I know the Golden Cat, not as a patron, mind you. I designed some specialized devices for them. I kept the blueprints, if anyone is curious.
Don't. I brought you tea as a courtesy to a colleague. I won't make that mistake in the future.
I'm sorry, I only thought... Never mind what I thought. Thank you for the tea.
I have to get back to the Admiral. He has news for me. Master Pьеро has a great deal to learn in some areas. I'm sure Pьеро will make some lady a fine husband. Some other lady. I might even fancy him, but the way he stares at me, I don't even think he's aware of it. He spends all his time with books and machines. I don't think he understands that I'm not one of them.
I built some of their specialized equipment at that bathhouse myself. Hydraulics, you know. Handled wrong, it could do some real damage. The Weeper, a phenomenon unknown before the plague reached its worst. The sentience is all but gone, higher thinking lost. But the body continues to move and walk, literally bursting at the seams with virus. It becomes a breeding ground for horrendous insects that are quite dangerous. Yes, they moan and plead and beg for help, but I believe that this is more of a reflex, or perhaps even a mimic behavior intended to lure in fresh prey. It seems there is a weeper beneath our very feet, harmless as long as it is down there. What? You've not seen a weeper? This is a person with the most advanced stages of the plague. Well, with the exception of death itself. I suppose there are no weepers in Coleridge Prison where you've been, but you will see them on the streets, I assure you. How about meeting your first on your own terms? I suppose there are no weepers in Coleridge Prison where you've been, but you will see them on the streets, I assure you. How about meeting your first on your own terms? I have a friend who still works in the Academy of Natural Philosophy. He would gladly take a single weeper into his care for study if you were able to render it unconscious. Perhaps he can help it, or make it comfortable. If you sedate it, perhaps with a sleep dart, and leave it there alive, I will see that it is moved in secret to the Academy. The Golden Cat is a delightful place for a man. So I would imagine. The potential energy in a dram of whale oil defies all the laws of nature as we understand them, but that does not mean that whales are magical, or that they practice black magic. No one understands the challenges I face. I had to rebuild everything so that it can't be heard on the river. When Dunwall is free again, I am going to make a fortune on the patents I developed in this very room. I may buy this place from Havelock, for old time's sake.
I'm getting a frequency reverberation that confounds some of my experiments. I suspect there are some kind of empty chambers beneath this building. In a district this old, anything is possible.
Just waiting for my orders to come in, sir. You can count on me. All well, Master Corvo? Better than the Cold Ridge prison, ain't it? Always dreamed I'd have my own ship. Reminds me of one time, off the Morley coast. No, I've forgotten.
Ah, hello, Corvo. Cursed weepers, roaming all over the city. This movement will have a cost. For some of us, it will be very high. I wonder, Corvo, do you have brothers somewhere? You left your family on Sarkonos to come here for the Empress, didn't you? There will be lasting consequences when this is all said and done. Make no mistake about that.
Hello, Corvo. I expect Martin will be joining us shortly. I hate to start your day with such a strange matter, but the servants heard something last night, moving through the storm drains beneath the building. Most likely a weeper, the poor bastard. There's no hope for them once the plague gets that far along. Nothing more than a shuffling corpse full of sickness and insects, if you ask me. I'd appreciate you investigating, just to be sure it's not a nosy guardsman that's getting too close. Here's a key to the hatches. I'd send a servant down there, but they'd die of fear on the spot, I'm afraid. Maybe Piero can concoct some sort of sleep poison for your crossbow if you want to go that route.
This weaver got the disease from attending to his sick children. They are called weepers. They can languish like this for many weeks. She intends to spread the plague to others if she gets the opportunity. Hear her terrible moans. The disease is both painful and disfiguring. Soon this weaver will be too ill to eat or drink. She will not suffer much longer. Have pity for those afflicted, but a warning. Pity them from afar. She does not remember her former life. All she has now is this. You cannot help her. The finest elixirs in Dunwall cannot help her now. They sheltered her for a time, but when blood came from her eyes, they sent her out. Called her a weeper. They are called weepers. They can languish like this for many weeks. She bought the finest elixirs. Perhaps she did not take them in time. Hear her terrible moans. The disease is both painful and disfiguring. The overseer told her it was her own misdeeds that brought the plague to her. He watched his wife and daughter die of it. Now the plague takes him. The sickness attacks the breathing, eyes, and ears, and lays waste to the brain. There is nothing left of the man he used to be. He is very ill, but be warned, he still has much strength. He was fond of taking in stray animals. but that was before. The Weepers, they live in constant misery until death finally releases them. Look at him, yet he believes this malady will pass and he will soon be well. There's nothing you can do for him, but keep your distance. Was he a nobleman or a commoner? Whatever he was, that life is over now. They suffer from plague. He was a harpooner on a great ship, but then he began to fall ill. Whoever they were before, now they are victims of the contagion. Weepers. He pleaded with her to leave, begged her not to help him. But now she is sick too. Weepers may look helpless, but they are not. He hopes his wife is suffering somewhere, just as much as him. The sick spread more than disease. They spread panic.
You went down there in the sewers? I thought I heard a weeper in there earlier. You're probably the bravest man I've ever met. Overseer Martin has arrived. He's with Admiral Hevlok now. They want to talk to you.
Dust here, dust there. Feels like the whole world is dusty.
Good day to you, Corvo. Oh, I don't think I've noticed that tattoo on your hand before. It's interesting.
For the restless hand shall be raised against the common good. Downstairs, upstairs, almost done.
Corvo, I trust you remember Martin, an overseer before, and perhaps again someday soon.
I owe you thanks for my rescue.
Indeed, you've given us a glimmer of hope, Corvo. Because we've gotten what we wanted from Campbell's journal. You've done it. We know where Emily Caldwin is being held.
The Golden Cat, of all places. A bathhouse for aristocrats. Little better than a cursed brothel.
But there's an unfortunate twist. It appears that Pendleton's own kinsmen stand in our way. The twins, Morgan and Custis. Not only are they controlling Emily, but they have the controlling parliamentary votes we so desperately need.
Yes, the Pendletons have to die. But most importantly, Emily must be brought here safely so we can protect her until the Lord Regent and his entourage have been dealt with. Pendleton's waiting for you on the dock. He's asked to brief you personally. I think it's best. Campbell's book appears to contain much more than we expected. He was blackmailing a number of highly ranked overseers. With the information in his journal, we will be able to manipulate the religious faction. The overseers will bend to our will.
Corvo, a moment if I may. Corvo, I've asked to speak to you myself. You see, I'm sending you to kill my older brothers, Morgan and Custis. They're horrible men. It's true, as you may have heard, cruel beyond words. Further, my brothers are close allies to the Lord Regent, and as long as they are in Parliament, we cannot gather the votes we'll need to stop the Lord Regent from further consolidating his power. These days, they're best known for exploiting their favor with him to cheat others out of their wealth. Let's just say that not every family evicted and quarantined for having the plague actually has the plague. I warned my brothers in every way I could. I really did. But they never did listen to me. They'll be at the Golden Cat tonight at their usual revels. They'll be protected by the City Watch, so it'll be dangerous. Now go. Please do it before I change my mind. A challenge. Even for someone like you. 6 months ago, I was out at the estate hunting with my brothers. Custis and Morgan were always better shots, though one of them nearly killed me, all for a cruel joke. Strange. I never thought I'd be the Penndeltonaire, you know. I never expected any of this. By the outsider's eyes, I'm going to drink tonight. It'll have to be now, I think. With Campbell out of play, they'll move Lady Emily soon. And in a few days, Custis and Morgan will be out at the estate hunting, and we'll never catch them. Strange. I never thought I'd be the Penndeltonaire, you know. I never expected any of this.
You've never been to the Golden Cat? No, I suppose not. Me neither, of course. Interesting. I won't ask, but the mark on the back of your hand. Are you studying the forbidden arts, Corvo? Never mind. We're all friends here. My neck still aches a little from the stocks. But I must say, you created quite an impression on the overseers during your visit. They are a nervous lot now.
Ah, you're finally back.
Excuse me, Admiral. I was delayed.
Pay close attention to your duty, miss. It will never work without Emily. And when she gets here, you will be her nurse and teacher. In a way, you're more important than Corvo here.
You mean you found her?
We have her location. And I'm sure Corvo will whisk her back here in no time. You, Miss Karnow, are tasked with tending to the most important person in the Empire. Tend to her every need. Educate her. Train her in graces. Cut her meat, if you must. Do whatever is needed. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I were years younger, I'd be doing your job myself. Don't think I couldn't. I used to climb that rigging like a monkey. Wine's no good for a Navy man. I need a proper drink. You know, we met once, back at your old job. State dinner. You wouldn't remember. You were looking after the Empress. Ah, she was beautiful, wasn't she? A man sees funny things out at sea. The world's not at all like the overseers teach it. Not by a long shot. Give some thought to what you'll be doing when this foolishness is over, won't you? Anything you like. Just name it. It's taken some adjustment to lead a civilian organization such as this. In my younger years, I'd have just ordered my ships to fire on the tower, then dragged the Lord Regent to me. But a bright future does not lay in that direction. Once we've got the daughter of the Empress here, we'll be counting on you to protect her. Oh, what I'll do when I get my fleet back. I've broken a blockade or two in my time.
Corvo, my friend, do you need ammunition or weaponry? Would you like me to craft something for you?
My name is Samuel. This machine was tossed into the river by the Admiral, but I fetched it. And it appears to be working. Let's see if it is. Test. Test. There we go. I'll take you to the Golden Cat when you're ready. I've taken Lord Pennelton enough times, believe me.